us.
All right, we are back, and it's still Crossfire with Dapo and Ishoma. We have our guest in the studio right now. He's no other person but Chief Larry Emenike, and we will definitely be taking him on some of the issues that we have to discuss on the show today. Welcome. And I mean, to our platform.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Sorry about all the rain and the traffic and all of that.
Nice
but
nature.
I mean, good to know you are here finally.
Yes.
All right. Before you came in, myself and Ishoma, we were brainstorming on 23 states currently owing local government workers' salaries. The number is very appalling. I mean, it's and very, very shocking and disappointing. That with all the interventions that government has given to the state, then you still have a scenario where these monies did not trickle down to the government, to the local government. That's one. And then the second phase of it is the fact that up till now, our local governments are not running. Elections for new chairmen have not been done. And therefore, I mean, it's like all our local governments, 774 local governments, maybe all of them are running, on autopilot. Chief.
I think I have a different perspective of all what is happening within the local government structure, because as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a very big rape to this our democracy that some certain governors has taken it upon themselves to be like what they are called, because I think there was a time Obasanjo, the former president, called them the governors has become emperors in their state. And I think that is what we are seeing now, playing out. It has been there, and it's just that I don't know whether it's the fault of the governor or the fault of the institution of government, that is supposed to checkmate the excesses. Because I think everything is inculcated in our constitution, whereby some of all these abnormalities are supposed to be taken care of by some certain people within the government. But it seems that maybe all those things, nothing is happening again. And the worst of it is just what you mentioned earlier when you were making your prologue. I think you talked about this disbursement of bailout funds, coming from the government, and also this idea of borrowing, like the Paris Club loan that was borrowed specifically for governors to pay salaries and so many things. And as at this moment, we've not seen that thing done. And when you look back in the last regime during the time of Okonjo-Iweala, you saw a situation whereby these governors want to have this same monopoly that they are enjoying now, and government are not interested in giving it out. They met a stumbling block in the person of the Okonjo-Iweala, you understand me? The woman never agreed until they went to court. That was the issue of that, what do they call it? That fund that we are supposed to keep for the rainy day.
Yes.
The court, it was because Jonathan was looking at, some people calling him that he's just a strict adherence of the, of the law. He wants to believe in law, and he allowed that process to go on. And we saw where it took us. So today, I'm surprised that people that saw those scenarios play out that time, and they used it as politics then, because it was one of the major things they used, that the government was somebody even, I think it was Wole Soyinka that called the former president a kindergarten president. Today, I have been looking for the word to use to this, for this current government. Because if I use kindergarten, it would be, it would be small.
It's not demeaning enough.
Yes, no, it's not demeaning enough, because when you look at the scenario that is playing out, I think it's job for the boys.
But then, Chief Larry, if you also look most of the governors, a lot of the persons who also, have squandered, if I can put it that way, the resources of their states, who are owing salaries of their states, who have refused to grant local governments their due, are still the same persons clamoring for restructuring of Nigeria. So how do you juxtapose this?
No, I don't even want to go there, because that place is still far, because we'll get there. But I think basically the point I'm making now is
no, but before you make your comments, just in addition to what Ishoma said, don't you think what is playing out is that, okay, federal government, you are doing this to us, as state government. You are doing this to us. We have to tell you a lot of stories before you give us money to be able to run our state. You have to tell us, okay, you don't have money, you have to go and borrow before you can give us intervention fund. you know,
despite
to be able to
the
do
fact that they get their monthly allocation.
you know, and you control the entire financial, you know, the financial institute, you know, for the nation, and you have a statutory responsibility to be giving money to government, to state government, to do whatever that they need to do. Don't you think that the state government are at the same time saying to the local governments that, okay, even though we know that you are part of us, just like federal government should realize that there is no federal government except the states exist, and then the local government will never exist. The local government will never exist except the state government exists also.
I think there is no justification for the madness going on with the governors as regards the constitutional abuse, you know, of neglecting the local government structure. Because when these monies are coming in, you know, it comes state, federal, the federal government has their share, the state has their share, and the local government has their share. And automatically it was because of this, you know, concept of the seat that was implanted in the system, whereby governors brought in this dangerous kind of, you know, joint account process, you know.
Yes.
That was where they crippled everything concerning the local government. But today, I'm not even going there yet, because I think we need to clarify things here. You talked about disbursement of funds. And looking at the system now, we are in an era that people are meant to understand that we are fighting corruption. And in that same era, you see a situation whereby a federal government, you know, that people, you know, I don't want to use the word they use, you know, integrity and whatnot, you know, that they're fighting corruption, that they're so, oh, the former sheriff and new sheriff, yes, and all those theories and mantras and body language, all those things have fizzled out. Then you see a situation whereby it started with the president. He went and he gave the state bailout fund first. You know, the job was not done to pay the salaries. He went again, he went again and collected another one and gave them. In addition, again, you went outside the shores of this country to collect another Paris Club loan. There was a time, sometime last month, I overheard the EFCC. They said the bailout, Paris Club bailout funds to the government, to the states, you know, got stopped. You know, they talked about the EFCC trying to probe, you know, the disbursement. It was then we heard from the EFCC that governors has made themselves consultants. You know, that they initiate projects, they make themselves consultants, they collect the money. Now, what have you done after that? The question is this: has the EFCC concluded their investigation as regards the probe that they started? Or is it like the $43 million Osborne Gate that nobody's talking anything about? So I see it as job for the boys. I see it that because something is happening within the federal government, we need to, you know, give some certain incentive to the states for them to keep quiet. Because as far as I'm concerned, we don't have leadership in Nigeria.
Why is the federal government not probing the activity, probing into and probing, to probe into, and then to really sit down and probe the financial activities of the state government?
They're also guilty of the same issue.
But as much as you claim they are guilty also, remember also there was also a time in this country where the populace came out to say that, look, the federal government is trying to boycott the state government. The federal government is trying to amass so much control. Wherein lies federalism?
But a state will never get a pass mark when your local governments are failing. You should know that the relationship between the federal government and the state government is totally different from the relationship between the state government and their local government.
But you know, if that happens, a lot of people will also come out to the media and say the federal government are trying to take control of those states and also bring in, you know, their own cronies. Isn't that what will happen?
I think there is nothing like that.
I mean, this is Nigeria, come on. Where a lot of politicking and politics goes on.
The fact still remains that, and that is why sometimes I look at this call for, you know, restructuring of the polity vis-a-vis some other calls for, you know, people are talking about referendum and so many other things. When you look at how this system is being run now, I'm afraid of the direction we are going as a nation. Because as far as I'm concerned, was it the other time you had the vice president, no, the coordinator, you understand me? You know, because that is
the acting president.
No. What we saw. Let me tell you.
That was the letter.
The section in question. Yes. You know, was explicit in whatever anybody is doing, except you want to deceive yourself. At the down of that particular, section, there was a place there. He said, except a contrary letter was written. And when you look at that letter, it was a constructed letter.
Well, which is supreme.
So it's not the acting president, it's the coordinator of
that is what
no,
that is
Mr.
what
Larry, isn't the Constitution supreme to any
to what?
other law?
To a,
or
no,
even to the
it's
letter?
there. No, it's there.
Which takes preeminence.
No.
Forget the fact that they use the phrase. I don't
No,
want
it's
us
not,
to
no,
go
no, no,
back.
no, don't do that because it's playing out.
Forget the fact that they use the phrase.
That is the problem I have with Nigerians. You like making excuses for people that knows what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, I've been saying it. Let my words speak for me. In every interview or any forum I've been, I've made it explicitly clear that the only person that is focused in this government is the president. And when you look at the way things are going, you will know. You know, by virtue of, the grazing field, pumping money into Northeast, by every decision, the education issue that is coming up now. So everything he wants is going on smoothly well. But we should not be deceived here. When people that you know are acknowledged, because I don't think that those that crafted that letter are illiterates. If they are not going to be there. Okay. And there was a former letter that was written, there it was simplified. It was there clearly written by the same people. And today, when you look at what is playing out now, you will discover that the intent of that letter is what is playing out. So why do you make excuses?
Okay, Chief Lai, I have a couple of questions that we intend to clarify on this show.
Yes.
I'm going to have to take your thoughts on the build-up of this allegation or this plan hanging on top of this government to probably look for a way to Islamize Nigeria. We have the committee set up to rebuild the northeastern part of Nigeria. We have the grazing bill saying that the Fulani herdsmen or the grazers, the herdsmen, because we stop calling them the Fulani herdsmen because, I mean, it looks as if almost every tribe and tongue in Nigeria now are herdsmen, and all of that. We look at that vis-a-vis the content of the bill saying that a particular portion of the land in every state will be earmarked for this particular activity, saying that in every locality there will be a grazing land. That bill is still hanging. We also, have the last purported voice message of the president greeting Nigerians during the Eid al-Fitr celebration in a particular language in Nigeria. And all of this as a matter of fact, maybe, do you think there is anything going on?
There is something you must be careful about because one, you are talking about a purported message in Hausa language. Today, have you verified the source?
Exactly. That was why I said not verified.
So because sometimes
but for analysts like you,
we it's not verified that we should discredit it
exactly
until we can verify.
We are meant to. I overheard the Minister of Information when he was talking about wrong information. He brought that. There are so many things he has brought out since he became the Minister of Information that was non-existing when he was enjoying the privilege. I'm talking about Lai Mohammed. But that is not the issue here. The point here is this. As far as I'm concerned, you have a government, I repeat it, I said it before this your question, that the only person that is focused in this regime still remains the president. Because whenever issues that concerns that set of people comes up, he is so much in a haste, to do something about it. So, which is not in question.
Okay.
Now, because when the issue of the grazing field or yard or whatever they call it came out, he was the first person that secured 9 states, grazing lands in 9 states. I raised the issue about the impute of 954 million into our budget, 2016 budget, to provide that particular facility. You understand me? And it has been standing. And today you discover that there was an issue that came up in the House, in the Senate precisely, about this Southeast Development Commission.
Exactly.
You saw how some certain group of people, after, the things that has not done in the Senate before, whereby you presented something, it was not allowed to pass through the second reading because it was in the second reading that so many people will make impute. No budget in the history of the Senate has been discarded in the first instance. It was a Southeast Commission.
Let him land.
I want to come in
Let
here.
him land on your. Let him land on your point.
We need to
Land on this point. Yes.
we need to be careful here because I was privileged to have a first-hand information as regards that. And after then, some certain group of people were celebrating, you know, and it went that way. But anything that concerns, in my mind, I always want Nigerians to have a flashback. Some time ago, when this governor of, is it the Adebayo, was a governor in Ondo State. You saw what happened when the Fulani herdsmen had issues with the state. It was this our president that went there, you know, to mediate and even threaten.
And another case happened in your state, in Ibadan, some time ago, where he got up. He was not the president then anyway. He got up and he came into Ibadan.
You know, that was the only issues that you will see him manifest. And that is the truth. So what I'm saying in essence is this. We need to be very, very careful. I think people have been shouting. Look at what happened in Taraba. The governor has been shouting that some certain people are taking over the state almost since last month. And nobody did anything until last week. Until last week, there was a serious attack. There was massive, until date, the federal government has not made any categorical statement.
Mr. Larry, let me ask.
The acting president issued a statement almost immediately.
Let's consider some things.
He deployed both the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army to go there and make sure that that state is reinforced.
And what happened?
But no.
Saturday, the next day, you had the commissioner of police saying that he saw some certain people, he saw cow. But very soon, peace, normalcy about coming. But you are not taking away those people that are taking over that land.
But let's look at this also, gentlemen.
That is the reality.
Gentlemen, let's look at this also because so we do not also overfan the already heated politics.
The politics is already heated. It's not what you say now.
It's heated, but remember this is a media house and the people also listen to us. Yeah. Now let's also try and play the devil's advocate here.
Let's hear
in as much as I'm not totally disrepeating everything you have said, but then let's consider this also. There are also individuals, you and I, persons from the south, persons from the south who also are into the cattle rearing business, but because they themselves do not have the technical skill and they cannot take their cows by themselves, they pay these people who are skilled, and what do? They graze their cow, but they pay them. So they're making profits from it. So let us not also, hold on. Of course. I'm talking about individuals, private individuals.
You know there's a matching
does not mean it does not exist.
Of a serious head of cattle, even on the Ikorodu Road.
Exactly. And if you find out well, it could be an indigene of the state who owns these cows.
Were you privileged to be a part?
Can I please finish also? Can I please finish also? Now, if you're having trouble in a particular state, for example, Delta State has been on fire in terms of attacks from headsmen. But who is the chief security officer of that state? Who should protect that state?
Have you finished?
Technically, the state governor. We saw an Ayodele Fayose put measures in place to secure Ekiti State. My issue is why are respective state governors not doing that?
Okay.
I'm also asking that question. But then
you should blame the state governors.
No, you won't.
Why shouldn't you? Why did people vote for them?
Let me on.
Because we cannot just in totality blame the federal government for all our woes. If we do not tell ourselves the truth, apportion blames when necessary, take corrections when necessary, Nigeria cannot grow.
I'm a good fan of Ayodele Fayose.
I see.
There is always a man in the mix of the people. And when you look at the man, Ayodele Fayose, his approach has been the way it is. You understand me? And you give it to him. And that is why I respect him. So what I'm saying in essence is this. When you are talking about this particular issue, some of these states are not viable. Just like Dapo said, they look up to the federal government for survival.
Despite their allocations.
Which allocations are you as of today?
Their IGR.
As of today.
So why are they there? Why are they stable? If they cannot, at the end of the day,
you don't know how much I generate.
There is no state that is not viable if we have right-thinking persons coordinating those states. There is no state that is not viable.
You see, I take.
I don't want to think so.
Nobody.
A state like Oyo State, You will not compare
with their land
their
mass,
IGR. You will
with
not
their
compare
land
the
mass,
IGR.
agriculture.
There
is so much things they could do
as a
to
nation,
attract,
okay, let me
industries and investment.
can I ask you a question?
You see a Lagos state, for example.
No, keep that by your side.
Why should I keep that by my side? Lagos is a state. Lagos is working. So if Lagos is working, why can't other state governors borrow?
No, excuse me. The benefits are accruable to Lagos. I celebrate Ambode. He's my man anytime. I'm a supporter of Lagos State government under Ambode. You know about my issues with Fashola,
of course,
and it's playing out now. A governor that has been declaring 486 billion for Lagos, but under 1 year, Ambode declared 800 and something. It goes to show it's not rocket science. It goes to show a prudent man. It goes to show a sincere man, because I've been shouting there that the former governor was under budgeting, declaring budget, and it's playing out now. But what we are saying in essence is, yes, why I said you shouldn't bring Lagos in is because there are much benefits accruable to Lagos State by structure, by geographical positioning.
Which they worked on.
Which
other states, which the state government worked on, which other state governments can work on if they want their state.
You're forgetting that Lagos State used to be the capital of this country.
That's one thing she don't know.
And at
the same time, let me tell you, one of the challenges I have as an Igbo man is that there is a city in China that it was the government that took up that city because they discovered that there is something in that city. A typical example is what is happening in Aba today. Aba has been in the news as a productive, man, a self-productive state. Until today,
it's like Beijing.
Yes,
just like
the issue is the state, is Abia State reaping that benefit.
No, Aba to Abia State is just like Beijing. To China.
No, the question is not connected to what I'm saying. I'm coming.
The benefits of that.
I'm coming.
Why isn't it?
Excuse me. The fact of the matter here is this. I was talking about the Chinese government developing a state, seeing what the state has to offer, they developed it. In China, it took the ability of only about how many states for China to be what they are today. Not all cities in China are productive. So what I'm saying is this. When you look at the concept of Aba, you see a situation whereby it was a systematic thing by the government, not here, those that were in the past, based on the structure of Nigeria. And that is why people are calling for restructuring. That this kind of people look at who the qualities they have, let us not allow them to have it. And that is why you have a Southeast with the highest number of businessmen. There is no seaport. It was a systematic thing.
You think that it...
Who are you going to blame me? You even look at the states themselves, so they are not as much viable as they should.
Do you think that is a deliberate plan?
It was purely a deliberate plan by the government. In general, I'm not talking about Buhari's government. It has been there, institutionalized. You saw what happened to Stella Odua. She was the only woman under Jonathan that was bold enough to create an impression for the Southeast. When he developed the Nandas Giwe airport and made it an international... You saw how they reacted immediately against that woman.
We also remember the controversies that
you understand me?
that
the controversy you're talking about is existing now, but still the EFCC has written to her. And today you have an Abba Kyari that was alleged to collect 500 million from MTN to bring down the fine of MTN. You have a Babasheo. In the history of the world, I've not seen where a consultancy charge will surpass the amount used for the project. We are talking about 500 and something million for clearing of grass.
But what's not right is not right in itself. And we should be able to call it spade.
Call that spade. I want you to call that spade.
That's your
spade I want.
Don't call it an agricultural equipment.
Irrespective of your ethnic group or where you are from. If it's wrong, it is wrong.
Okay.
We do not have any tribe in this country or any state where they're total saints.
Okay. All right.
That's
we'll quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take it up from where we stopped. We'll be right back after now. All right, welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. It's still Crossfire with Dapo Anishoma. We have Chief Larry Emenike in the studio, and we've been discussing about national matters. We started talking about why state government still hold local government employees a lot of salaries, a lot of monies. And in Bayelsa State, record have it that the local council workers are being owed up to about 16 months. And we find out that in Ogun State, that even deductions have not been remitted for local government workers. And that cuts across about 23 states of the Federation. I thought we have separation of powers.
Yes.
And that includes,
You thought.
you know, yes, no, I thought we have separation of powers. And I'm beginning to wonder, Chief Larry, is it possible by law for the government to directly give allocation to the local government, bypassing the state government, if really and truly they are bottlenecks to the operations and the activities of the local government?
When you look at the benefits that the federal government has been enjoying, you will discover that there is nothing that is impossible for the federal government to do through the Office of the Attorney General. You understand me? There are things you need to do because, one, I will not say that the National Assembly, that they are complicit to this rape on our democracy. You understand? So I think the federal government has a lot of job to do because you are the person sharing this money.
Yeah.
You understand me? You get this money, you share it. Why not allow the local government to come directly? I don't know if you understand me, but the scenario I'm seeing playing
the federal
out,
government will be, is it not easier, especially for financial disbursement, is it not easier for the federal government to deal with 36 states plus the federal capital making it 37 than to want to deal with 36 states and then deal with 774
what is the job of
local government?
what is the job of the Minister of Finance?
But you know there was a lot of drama as regards this in the past, remember?
Yeah, I know. No,
before the whole story of joint account came up.
No. Let us not miss it. You see, one thing what I'm saying now is this. You have ministries of finance, they have their liaison here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand me. In every state. You see, it's just that we have a bunch of lazy people with a bunch of lazy leadership that doesn't want to take responsibility. When we have, you see, sometimes I look at things, I say, is it rocket science? Nothing is rocket science as far as governance is concerned. I once told somebody that, give me the traffic of Lagos State, in 3 months I will solve it. You understand me? Because I know what to do and how it works. Now you see a situation whereby your workers are crying. The people that are doing this job in the States are crying. Nigerians are suffering. People are being laid off. And today you have a government that has a responsibility to his steaming fans and to his steaming enemies. If I might use the word of the president, 97%, 5%. You know, you have a responsibility to take care of the people. And now you are not doing anything. If the government is not sharing money, if this government is not borrowing to give these states to go and waste it, then I will not have issues with the federal government. But where I have issues is that you are borrowing some certain funds that people will pay in 20 years' time. And you are giving it to unproductive people in the states that are not sharing that money. And you continue to disburse that money.
Now, just to lay a foundation for our discussion tomorrow, there is agitation for restructuring. And the same thing is applicable if we're going to go forward. If the states clamor for restructuring and they believe that, okay, putting back the resources of every state into their hands and let them give whatever they, that has been agreed, into the central. What's your position on restructuring?
Is it the state that are clamoring for restructuring?
A lot of them are.
A lot of them are.
A lot of them are.
Especially if you are going to look at restructuring really and truly, if you are going to look at it wise, it cuts across geopolitical zones.
Okay.
And geopolitical zones are constituent of states.
Okay.
So there's no way you will not say the Southwest wants restructuring or the Southeast wants restructuring. You are just basically talking about states. But there's one issue
of forgetting accountability.
Do you think Nigerians are fools? Do you think that maybe people like us, that believe that this country needs a surgical operation, that we will keep quiet, that at the end, some certain people that call themselves governors, you understand me, that can wake up and dominate the structure, it may be if there is eventuality.
You can't take, even when we restructure, Chief, see, are we going to take the states out of it?
Things are not the way they are before.
Okay.
You better know that.
Okay.
And if some certain states now are seeing reason that the situation, I think some of them are even crying for the status quo.
Oh,
I don't know.
yes. No, for status quo.
Yes, some of them. Excuse me.
Okay.
You see, you need to be careful when you are assuming that this caliber of people we have in the States are looking up for the restructuring. They are beneficiaries of this abnormality.
Okay.
And they're enjoying it.
But when they benefit more, when the total control
So
is under
they know the structure. They know the structure will change.
Okay.
But it's to benefit them more.
No, the structure will change then. No, nobody is giving any state government. Let me tell you something.
All right, Chief Larry.
2019,
Chief Larry, I wish that we can continue this conversation.
Yes.
I wish that we can continue this conversation. But don't forget, this conversation continues tomorrow. We will be talking very, very seriously and passionately about restructuring on the show tomorrow. Do join us. Stay out of trouble, and God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much, Chief Larry.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.